It's August 13th. Welcome to Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube. I'm so excited. It's actually not Floss Tube. It's actually just Fat Quarter Shop live stream. But I am so excited today. We have so many new things to show you. I have lots of stuff that we produce for Lori Holt that came in all at the same time. So that's super exciting. We're going to have a giveaway we're going to talk about at the end. And I have a ton of quilt blocks to show you, like all the stuff I've been working on. And so let's kind of jump right in it. I did kind of tease that we had a new Lori item that was coming, and here is the prototype. So it is a 2022 planner. We've never done something like this before. So I'm going to show it to you in very detail so that anybody who wants to see this can kind of flip through, and we might do a standalone video where we flip through so that you guys can see. But this is actually a fabric. It's a linen, and it is embossed in silver, and it says 2022 planner and be in my bonnet. And then on the inside is like you could write on here if you wanted to. And this is pretty similar to her planner that she had, Scrappy Project Planner. So we kind of use the same. And some of the Scrappy projects will be reprinted in another form. We added the 2022 and 2023 calendar so that you could see, you know, any kind of dates you want. And then here, in front of each month, we have some sayings, but in the very beginning of the book, we put planning our year and then special dates. So Lori thought it would be great, like any of your January birthdays, or you could do all your January, then February, then March. Just put all your days you need to remember. And then within each month, they're each a different color. So we use 6 different colors, and it's all color coordinated. So this is January. Now, we made the boxes big enough to where you can actually write something in here, and she really wanted to add the notes section so that you could add that, because a lot of planners don't have that. And in the front of each month, there's a notes section, priority shopping, personal goals, and health goals. And so the way that I'm going to use this is I will probably put notes throughout the month here, but then here I'll probably put like one of the lists for all the quilts that need to be finished that month, or all the cross stitches that need to be finished that month. And then here I'll probably put any kind of important dates for Emma's dance. And then here I'll probably put any dates for my 3 boys. They kind of do the same sport. So if there's any dates, I'll probably put those here so that I have like a month at a glance type thing. So even though the tabs say like priority shopping, personal health, I'll probably use it differently, and that's okay. And then these are green because this is like December. Everything's color coded, and then your January starts here. And she did put 8 little water droplets here so that each day you can drink 60 ounces. I think it's 8 times 64 ounces of water. So as you drink each cup. And so we put plenty of width, like height, so that when you write, you have enough room to write, because some of the planners have too skinny lines. And then of course we have the honeycomb on the bottom, and this paper is super thick. So if you compare this paper to a planner that you just get like at Target or Office Depot, this paper is very thick. So when you write on one side, you shouldn't see it on the other side. I'm so proud of this. We have worked so hard to get this done. And the way that we're doing this is this is being made in America. So it is going to come in October, and we're making a limited run. So we've already actually, before pre-orders were even done, we've already placed our order. They're being printed now. They're going to take a long time to print because one vendor has to do the cover. One vendor puts them all together. It's called like the binding, and then one vendor does the sheets. So I've already ordered all of them. So once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not going to reprint because there's not really a availability reprint, because we had to buy a certain amount of this fabric stock, if that makes sense. So here's February, it's navy, and there you can see the words a little bit better just because it's darker. And then the honeycomb at the bottom matches. And then this one is yellow because that's the last day in January, and January's yellow. So everything's color coded by the tab. This will also come in a box. And we don't have the prototype to show you yet, but when we get that, I can show it to you. So it will come also in a box. So there's 12 months. Everything is tabbed. Each day has its own page, January to December 2022. And it's the page size is 5 by 8.25. It's spiral bound. So that is how each month looks. Now I'm going to flip to the back. And this is actually how it will look. This is a prototype, but it's actually the same exact paper and everything. So in the back, she added 12 pages of notes. So that, because a lot of planners don't have a lot of room for notes. So I'm going to show you all the note pages, and they're in the same order of the tabs. So yellow, navy, and matches. So you could write on here throughout the year. You could keep list of finished quilts, finished cross stitches, if you're a scrapbooker, finished scrapbooks. So lots of note pages, which a lot of planners don't have. And then on the back, this is where every product that you sell, you have to put a barcode and a SKU and all that for vendors. So that is on the back. And again, made in America, designed by Lori. It's so nice. I love it. So if you want to see anything else, let me know and I'll kind of flip through anything you want to see. So this prototype, I guess it arrived on Monday, so we weren't able to pre-sell it ahead of time because we needed a prototype to photo. So we added the photos, and we're going to send a newsletter about it on Monday. Again, it's a pre-sell, ships in October. It's a limited run. We've never done a planner before that's dated. And we did do one that was undated before, and we got so many requests to have dated, and now I have so many requests to do undated. So this one is dated. This is the one that I want, and we'll see how it does. And if it does great, then we'll do another one in 2023. So I'm excited to use this. I cannot wait to use it. The next item that came this week, I'll show you from the front, is we got 3 different, they're called stitch card boxes, and I'm going to explain why they're called stitch card boxes in a second. But there's red, teal, and denim, and I'm going to show all 3 on top, and then that way you from the top camera and you can see. So red, teal, denim, and so you can see it all matchy goes together. And these are paper boxes, and I'm going to show you each of them individually and give you some ideas on how to use them. Now in the back of the box is a little hole that you can put your finger in to help pull this out. Now these are called stitch card boxes because Lori sells cross stitch cards. So people were asking for a way to store them. So she has it alphabetized, but you don't have to use the alphabet if you don't want. You could put a sticker on top of it. So this is going to be a great way to store these. Now, of course, you could use half size, any quilt patterns that would fit half size. I'm not sure that quilt patterns would fit in here. This is smaller. They might fit flat long ways, but this will not fit a half size sheet. And then if you go to, it goes all the way to Z. And then there's 4 tabs right here that are just empty. But like I said, if you don't want the letters, all you have to do is go to Office Depot, buy some Avery labels, and cover up the letter. And it will look just like that. So in this box comes a separator, and what this is, or it's like a separator is probably not the word, but what you can do is like make it, you can put this cardboard to the front, and when you put it at the front, it'll stay. So we put her library cards, her beekeeper, thread conditioner. So this one we have for cross stitch. And I'm so excited because I can finally use these at home. And in there comes, it actually comes blank. We had someone write stitch cards, but it does come blank. So that's the red one. And these are in stock. These arrived this week. They were quite delayed. They were supposed to be here a couple months ago. This one is the teal. And this one, we wanted to show how you could put all the different supplies to match the planner in. And on this, these don't have to be used in a specific way. You could use these in your kitchen. You could use these for office supplies. We're just showing you examples of different things that we're gonna do. So here we went ahead and put some of Lori's office supplies. So she's got these pencils that Riley Blake has made. This came as part of her office set. We've got some washi tape and some stitch washi tape. This is new. And then we've got the bookmarks. So you could put all of your supplies in there, and these bookmarks are awesome. What you can do is bookmark your page. And these came out with the original Scrappy project planner, and we still have them in stock, and I use them on all kinds of stuff in my house. So that is the teal. I'm gonna stack it up. And then the denim, oh my gosh, this one's my favorite. And in here, this is so cute. So what we did here is showed you, now these we just put blank, the ones that are blank, but of course you could do a P for pink, a Y for yellow. And so we just took the 2020 B Basics Fat Quarter Bundle by Lori Holt and put them in here. So this will fit fat quarters. It will fit them both this sideways and then up and down. So lots of ways. It's a totally versatile product, something that Lori's been working on. We've probably been working on this for 2 years. So I'm very excited that we actually got it, and this makes me want to organize all my fat quarters like this. And so it's a way to organize. Now another thing you could do with them is you could, like if you have a whip, a quilt project you're currently working on that's kind of a smaller one, you could leave like your fabric in here. You could do like a box for starched, a box for unstarched. It obviously won't work for every project since the boxes are, you know, they're not like super large, but I could see myself using that for them. And I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions on these two products before I move to all the rest. Will they fit the Sew Sampler pattern blocks or Bright Side cards? I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't think so. No. Yeah, they will not fit. They're too small for that. Is there a stitch card club? Yes, there is. And if you sign up now, you will start with J, and J will be shipping in September. What size are the stitch cards? We'll measure them real quick. And now I just got all my stitch cards out of order. .75 by 6.75. And then I'll put these down here so I don't mess them up. I love that the planner, will there be pre-orders? Yes, so right now you can pre-order it, and right now it's basically only available through Fat Quarter Shop. We have got some comments that it's super expensive because the reason it's expensive is we're a smaller company. We're doing a one-time run. It has fabric on the front. It's made in America. It uses 3 different vendors who have to combine their services. So it is expensive, but you get what you pay for. We didn't like outsource it to China and then have it shipped over here. I mean, it's made in America. It's very thick paper, so really high quality. It's not something that we just like threw together. We've been working on it for months. Do I sell bolts of fabric? If you want a bolt of fabric, you can order 15 yards, and then in the comments just say, please apply bolt discount. And if we don't have it in a full bolt, because we don't always have a full bolt of everything, we'll call you. Will Jolly Bars fit in the boxes? Let me see the ruler. I don't know. I was trying to think of what you guys were going to ask, and no, they will not fit. What exactly is the stitch card and the purpose? So stitch cards are, oh, I already have them out. Stitch cards are a cross stitch item. And so once a quarter, and Lori's been doing this for a couple of years, once a quarter she comes out with 4 patterns. And they're basically postcard, and there's 4 patterns in each, and they are 24 stitches by 24 stitches, and they each have a different border. So stitch card B is the first one, and we happen to have this because we have this actually on, it's got a magnet on the back, and we have this on our filming set, and it just attaches to like an aluminum tin. And so there's a cover that comes with it, and then you get, oops, you get 4 cards, and they're all numbered and lettered, and they're all have DMC, and on the back it's full color. So we got a lot of requests for people to have something to store them in so they're easy to find. So that's what we made them for. But just like any other product that we sell, we're always looking for ways to use it. I mean, this would totally go in Kevin's office. I'm actually going to ask him if he wants some because he needs some things to organize. Do the boxes come with the items in them? No, the boxes come empty. This is just like a decorating idea, but yeah, definitely they come empty. Are there any quilt-alongs coming up that would be great for Christmas morning fat quarter bundle? Yes. If you watch next Friday, I will have something. What are the pins in the teal box? So these are planner pins that we came out with when we came out with her Scrappy Project Planner. I'll show you how they write. I'll get a piece of paper and we'll test them. Oh, I have a paper right here. So they're pins where she came up with the colors she wanted, and they're fine tip. So they, and then you don't see it on the other side. So just a rainbow of colors. And some of you probably have this. A lot of you probably already have this. When you railroad, do you do both stitches or just the top one? Just the top. Dakota said, did you try the different starch yet? Yes, I did. I'm going to stick with what I use. So the starch that we've been selling by Faultless, they came out with a new starch for quilters. So I tried it and I don't like it. It's not really a starch. And on the bottle, it doesn't say starch. I can't remember exactly what it says, like what the name is, but it's like, it's what I would think you would want, like if you had like a really fancy dress and you wanted it to kind of flow, I would see putting this on it. It's more of something, or for a men's shirt, it's more for clothing for me. But if for all the people who like a thinner, like a less heavy starch, that's what this is. So I tried it and it didn't really work for me. Betty says, yay, it's Friday. You make my day. I've learned so much. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Tracy says, what are the dimensions of the box? I'm going to read it to you. 5.5 by 7 by 7. Seams stitchy floss tube. Is there a video stitch along for stitchography? So today we don't have a video on it, but next Tuesday we will have a live video for that. No, not right. No, that's not right. I just made that up. Yeah, no, there's not a video on that one. Oh, I'm going to do, I know what it is. I'm going to do a video that I filmed this weekend, filming the bonus pattern, and so that's going to come out soon. But yes, not a video stitching it. It is stitching it, but it's going to be one of the fast forwarded ones. Has the Christmas morning yardage arrived? It will be online on Monday. How can I clean stains on a cutting mat like fabric glue residue? It doesn't go away. I use a Tide pen, but with glue, I'm not sure if it'll go away. I don't really know. You might have to just replace it. On my cutting mat, what I like to do is put a solid fabric that's not expensive on the top, and then use that to iron on top of, and that way I don't have to replace the base part. Can I do a pet test with fountain pen on that paper? Okay, so I can't write in this one because this is my prototype. So we're using that for photos and we only have one, so I can't write in it. I can do it when it comes out though. Is it more of a sizing instead of a starch? Yes, it must be sizing. I never had used sizing before, so I wasn't exactly sure what it was. But I basically did a quilt, and it was a smaller quilt, and I starched half in the new stuff, half in what I usually use. And then I wrote down like, okay, the greens are in this starch, the pinks are in this, and then I could definitely tell a difference. I wanted to intermix it within one project, and I just kept notes of which one, and it was so obvious. Like, I didn't even need to look at my notes to see which one was the heavy starch and which was not. What is the weight of paper? I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, it's just nice paper. It's the same paper that was in the Scrappy Project Planner though. I keep buying fabric I love, but then I end up with a crippling indecision of using it and what patterns to make. Anyone else have that problem? Yes, I have some bundles that are so old, I just will never use them. They're just too pretty to look at. Stitch by Stitch says she loves the Bats and Boo sew along. Does anyone else think that what Kimberly would do when they sew at home? I did a video on that. I'm gonna do another one. Okay, Marge said, good morning from the middle of the Mojave Desert. Oh my gosh, that sounds hot. And then good morning from Puerto Rico. Good morning, my sister-in-law's from Puerto Rico. Would the stitching with the housewives patterns fit in the boxes? They might fit flat. I'll grab one to see, but I don't think so. Is there going to be a stitch along for the Among the Stars Christmas version? No, so that won't be a stitch along. That one won't be a stitch along. The next thing I'm going to show you, I'll look that up in a second and I'll get back to you on that. But the next thing I'm going to show you is a brand new Lori book that also came in this week. So it's crazy, like all these things are made from different companies and they all came in at the same time. So this is her brand new book, Flea Market, and we did a trunk show. And the trunk show is on the video called Join Kimberly for a live tutorial of Social Lights Block 33. And just go to the trunk show, go to the 43-minute timestamp, and you will see all of these quilts. Now, one is sitting next to me, and I am going to show you the table runners in a second. And I'm going to flip through the book that doesn't have instructions. Just the pages that don't have instructions. So in here, there's Lori. We always do beautiful photography. And Lori usually puts a note. She talks about the different rickracs that you can put in the binding, and this brand new ruler is used in the quilt. We always do fabric requirements, and then this is the main quilt, and then I'm going to jump to just some different photography. I can't stay on a page too long because we don't want you to. Now, I did this photo shoot. It was really fun. And this was a cute little house. It was a cute little house. So we always put lots and lots of photos. So this one features her Flea Market collection by Riley Blake. There will be 4 quilt kits, the main kit and the 3 table runners. The kits will be available in October. And the reason why they're not available now is when we do her books that go with collections, she designs those after she designs everything for Riley Blake. We write the instructions and then we place the orders late because that's the order Lori goes in. And so then they have to place a second order at the mill. So those fabrics are not here yet. And then here are the bonus projects. So there is pillows and 3 table runners, and so we do want you to check out that video. Now, we are going to have a sew along, and with that sew along, I'm going to do some videos. Lori's going to do some videos with different technique tutorials within, but that will be in November sometime. So kits October, Quilt Along November. And I'm going to show you up close the table runners real quick. And we showed these in that other video. Now, I want to show you the Rick Rack. So Lori is the person who kind of invented this Rick Rack and the binding, and she did all of the quilts and some of the pillows in Rick Rack. And Gina Tell quilted all of these. So I just wanted to do kind of an up close so that you could see the quilting and the fabric, how beautiful it is. And I'll be making some of these projects. Obviously, I'll be doing, I'm not exactly sure, I haven't committed yet to what I'm doing, but I definitely will be doing something. And the best thing about Gina Tell is she does my binding. And this one's obviously not mine, but she does the Rick Rack and the binding for me. This one is my favorite out of the book. This is my absolute favorite. Now, I love this project. I would totally make it. I just don't have time. But I love this one. I love the detail of it. And I have a table that, this is too big for that table, but I have a table that would work great on it. Actually, I'm going to take this one home today and try it on that table and see how it looks. And maybe negotiate buying this one because I love it so much. This one, okay, so one thing that Lori always does is she always gives different background options so that you can envision using her fabric with different backgrounds. She does interchange lights and darks a lot so you can see. And all of the sample makers are listed in the book. I can read them off in a second so that I give credit to my sample makers. Okay, this one we're not going to pull all the way. So my sample makers are Nova, Nancy, Deborah, Angel, Terry, Gina, Teresa, and Lori. So think about that. That's a ton of people to be able to get this book done. And then so many people had to go into proofing it. We've got Nova, Cheryl, Karen, Chris, me. Sarah wrote the book. Katie, Williams, and Sarah did the photography. Terry, Jordan, and Jocelyn assisted in photography. And then these are the other books by Lori. So just a huge credit to everyone behind the scenes because Lori and I don't do this alone. Lots of people help us. And on the Rick Rack, what she did do here, she didn't list every color. She listed the colors that match her fabric. So that if you want to put one, you know that these colors will match Flea Market. There are several colors not listed because those do not match the Flea Market. The next thing I have to show you from Lori, and we kind of put all of Lori's together because I was so excited that everything kind of came in all at once. It's crazy. So this is a new collection that's going to ship in March. So August, September, October, November, December, January. So 7 months out. So when we see fabric, we see it 6 to 7 months in advance, sometimes up to 9 months in advance. So when we're ordering, think about that. We placed our order for that actually in late July. So we order so much in advance. So sometimes when you guys say, oh, it's sold out, well, we're just guessing. So this one is called B Plaids, and the best thing about this is it goes with all of her collections. Now there are 42 pieces right here. We're going to actually zoom in a little bit and show. But it's called B Plaids, but they're not just, you know, the traditional plaids. There's a combination of plaids. So this is going to be a collection. In addition to the 42, she has added 8 backgrounds. So that's actually 50 SKUs. Those are stars. So, and then these are going to be your 108-inch wide. And Riley Blake did mention to me that they have a new supplier for 108 and that their quality should be going up in that. So that's great. And then she's going to have 2 sew-alongs. So I'm going to pop both of those up and show you. So the Farmhouse Star, that is going to start as a sew along in April of 2022. Now this one is going to use her Farmhouse Star Sew Simple Shapes. It's also going to use her circle rulers, and she'll obviously have a sew along. Now this one is a paid pattern, so that will be April. And then in November, the next one is going to be Plaid Pines, and she has a new ruler that's going to be called the Tall Triangle Ruler, and she's going to show you how to make those with that ruler. So those are going to be all new Lori stuff. So now I'll answer some questions. Let's see, Gina said, I love working on this book with y'all. Yes, thank you. So we had to do some tight deadlines to get that book done. What is the new ruler from Lori? So she's gonna have a new triangle ruler, and she's gonna have a new trim it ruler that's a 15.5-inch square. So sometimes if she doesn't have a ruler the size she needs for a project, she'll do a new ruler so that it's easy for you to trim down. And Anna Marie says, I know it's probably early. When do you put out the mystery block of the month for next year? It's going to be in the fall, so we have not finalized. We are trying to work on that design, and we're struggling. So, but it will not be until like September, October. What are the dimensions of the planner? Will it fit in a purse? So I told you the dimensions of the paper, which is like 5.5 by 8.5. But with the with this, I can't think of the name of it, 6.5 by 8.5. So yes, it is small, and I will be putting it in my purse. So it depends kind of what kind of purse you have. I kind of have a purse where I just like throw stuff in. Valeria Bauer says, I'm starting to do my Hey Pumpkin and I can't seem to get it right. Do you remember the YouTube where you taught us how to do it? Hey Pumpkin. I have no idea. It's in Mania, so it would be in May, in a May video. Do your staff members who are sample makers sew at work or at home? At home. Do you have an update for shipping Christmas Among the Stars block of the month? Yes, it will be in the next week or two. We are receiving that fabric on Monday, so we have to get the fabric, check it in, cut it. Is there a way to get some brown iron marks out of fabric? I would try a Tide pen, and then some people say that you can use baking soda, but I haven't tried it. When is the Red Barn from Sweetwater going to be in? I'm not sure, probably in the next couple weeks on that one. So now I'm going to show you something that we put a ton of time into, and something that we're offering free to you guys, because we do really try to provide you a lot of content that is free that you can use your stash to sew. So this started last week, and I'm going to show you the first 2 weeks. This started last week, and I didn't show it because last week was just a tutorial. So all of this pattern is completely free. We're going to release it from August 2nd to August 23rd. It will stay free on our site, so it's not going to just disappear. So this is part 1, part 2. There's videos for each. We have a bat block, the video released a Monday past last Monday, and then pumpkin released this Monday, and then next Monday will be the center. And so I'm going to show you the blocks, and of course watch my video for tips. So in this one I used H200 to make the half square triangles, and we also give you instructions how to make it the traditional way so that you can decide which way works best for you. The second block, and you make 4 of each of these, and I love seeing all of the blocks on social media. Some of you guys are using different fabric, and you make 4 of these. And this one you just use the traditional flying geese method. You could chain piece to get this if you wanted to. You could make the hourglass bigger and trim down. Lots of stuff that you could do. So I want you to check out Monday for the 3rd part. Watch our video. download the pattern, and all our kits are sold out on this one, but there's a fabric requirement that you can download, and we have some of the SKUs in stock, so you could buy some of the SKUs and then you could kind of sub out the other SKUs. This one kind of went a little, people got so excited for this one. I don't think we've ever sold a quilt kit so fast in all the years we've been in business. It was insane. So thank you all for your support on those quilt kits. And I love seeing all the blocks. I love that a lot of people are using purple in the bat. A lot of people are using purple in these two spots. And now I'm going to show you all the stuff I've been working on at home. So the very first item that I've been working on is the Summer Soiree, which I've shown some of the blocks before. So it's from Pat Sloan, July 7th to September 29th, completely free. She releases a new free pattern every Wednesday. Now she is using hers. I'm going to show you her block for block 5. And so she is making her blocks using figs and shirtings. She's also doing 12-inch blocks. And so I wanted to do something totally different than her. So this is what I did for block 5. And this was last week's block. So I'm just showing you. This is my pressed open on the back. And I am using kitty corn, and I am making my blocks 6 inches. So there aren't instructions for 6 inches, but I can tell you this is a 1.5 by 2.5 inch cut rectangle. These are cut 1.5. These finish 1.5 by 2.5, and this is 2.5. And all of that comes with experience. So I can actually look at this block and within, I don't know, 30 seconds know exactly what I need to cut. But it is because I have made hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 quilts. I mean, I think it just comes with experience. But I've had a lot of fun doing this one. I want this one to be smaller because my kids like Halloween. So I know one of my kids will want this one. And so he doesn't want a huge quilt. He's got 1 million. I have 1 million quilts in my house. Like, I literally probably have 300 quilts in my house. And I'm not even joking. Like, they're everywhere. So I do not need any more big quilts. So this is my block 5. My block 6, I'm going to show you hers real quick. And so again, hers is figs and shirtings, and she is using different backgrounds throughout. And I'm going to show you my block. So I did this block with, oh, right here, it's in my lap. Sorry. I was like, where is it? H100. So that is H100 triangles on a roll. And that's what I used here. I chain pieced these sections. And this one, what I did to get the little kitty in the center is on the fabric. The kitty is on the diagonal. So I had to fussy cut him or her. So I just used this CGR 2 ruler to fussy cut to see, and when I do that, I just imagine that these a quarter inch away from the edge is gone. So I had to, on the fabric, turn it diagonal to get him straight. And then I'm going to show you 4, 5, and 6 together because I'm going to go back and show you this, and I have shown all of them, and when I finish it, I'm going to use Pat's setting. So I wanted to show you, this drove me crazy in the live stream 2 weeks ago. So this block just didn't look good. It's just, I was supposed to be pressing these open. It's a 6-inch block. It just looked very fat and chunky and like bulky and puffy, and it drove me nuts. So the first thing I did when I got home was I redid the block. So it's much better. And so this one is pressed open, this one is pressed to the side, and then I went ahead and did these. These are really easy, and it's fun to do something super easy that's not like 1 million pieces, because these kind of blocks I can do fast. So in this one, I'm gonna have to, when I get to the last couple of blocks, I'm gonna have to really work on fabric placement, because I've done a lot of orange blocks and a lot of green blocks, but not so many with this color, which I would consider kind of a purplish. So when I get to those last blocks, I'm gonna really have to lay out on my floor what, I guess what, like what colors I have so I can balance it out, because I'm a little bit worried that I don't have the fabric balanced right. I didn't draw this one out in EQ exactly how it is, so I'm gonna have to work on that. And then her finishing, it has like a little, like a outside border type thing, and I'm thinking I might use the black and white check, but I'm not sure about that. If not, I might find like a check from just a totally different collection to use. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do the finishing on that. I want to say thank you to Valeria Bauer for the super chat. I also want to say thank you to Sue M for that amazing super chat. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then thank you to Maureen Abramson for the super chat. And also thank you to everybody who's watching. I'm going to answer some questions before I show you more blocks. Dakota asked if I steam fabric after I have pre-starched my fabric. So my iron is always on steam, and I always use steam. Now, because I have starched and laid it to dry, it's already pre-shrunk. So if I steam, it doesn't matter. It's not going to start. It's not going to, I guess, it's not going to shrink it at all. And I like steam because I can get it flatter. Do I use triangles on a roll with these 6-inch blocks? Yes, I actually use triangles on a roll for everything. Now, I did buy that company, but when I first started 20 years ago, I was using triangles on a roll. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And I just told the lady, I said, when you're ready to retire, I want to buy your company because I love the product so much. But I have always used triangles on a roll, and I just love it. But I use it anytime I can. Do I plan on using any of the dark kitty corn fabrics in your quilt? See, that's kind of where I'm stuck. I don't really think so, but I think I'm going to use the black around as my sashing. But within the blocks, not so much. And I think it's because I really don't use a lot of dark fabrics. It's not really my look, so I don't really know what to do with it. Now, if I felt I could put together the fabric placement really nice and pretty and it looked good, I would totally do it. I just kind of, it's like I'm just kind of scared to do it, so sometimes I just stay away from it because I don't have that much experience doing it, so I just kind of stick with what I know. But I want to, I'm just not sure how to, I guess. So that's why I think I'm going to do the black on the outside. Would a layer cake plus background be enough for summer soiree? So for summer soiree, I'm going to read you her fabric requirements that she has. Her fabric requirements that are on her blog, and again, it's Pat Sloan. Her website is I Love to Make Quilts. She also has a Facebook group, or several of them, where you can check it out. But her fabric requirements are 35 to 40 fat quarters, 2.5 yards background, 3/4 yard binding, and 4.5 yards backing. Now, I am making mine with the kitty corn fat quarter bundle with fewer fat quarters. Now that I made that one mistake, I might have to buy more of that background fabric to fix. Like, since I made this block twice, I might need more of this fabric because I've been using this a little bit. We'll see. But I'm making mine smaller, so I kind of just wing it. How can I get my sojo back? Oh my gosh, I would say get some caffeine, get some chocolate, get some tea, hot chocolate, just get some energy and just go for it. I think once you dig in and just start, you can't stop. So that's kind of my thing, is if I get up early and I start, I can't stop. I could literally sew for 15 hours straight if nobody was home. If everybody was gone, I could. Will there be a Christmas quilt kit? Yes, and we will talk about it next Friday. How do you get brown marks off an Aliso iron plate? So we have a product that's by Dritz, and it's called Iron Off. And you can put it on your iron when it's cold. Not cold, sorry. When it's not gonna burn you. Let's see. So this is what it looks like. And we have used it. And it's very ugly. Okay, get it away from my blocks. It's brown. Hold on. But try to get it to come out. It's gross looking. It's nasty looking. But you let it sit on your iron and then rub it off. like after it's, yeah, a cold iron. Oh, it says do not use on a cold iron. Be sure your iron is hot. Well, be careful if you're doing that, because we did it when it was cold. And it will get the brown spots off. Now, I wouldn't use this on anything but your iron, because this is going to ruin any kind of fabric you have. When I sew pre-cut layer cakes with zigzag edges, how do you sew the 1/4 inch? Do you use the outside point or the inside? I use the outside. But usually on a layer cake, I'll usually use a pattern where I can cut it down so I can avoid the zigzags. I'm new to starching. Do you have to starch the backing? So the general rule is if you starch the front, you should starch the back. The quilt I'm about to show you that's finished today, I didn't starch the back. If I don't have time, I don't, because I don't wash my quilts that much. I say do whatever you want to, do whatever you feel like. There's no rules in quilting and crafting, and whatever you do whatever you feel like doing. But you're supposed to. But I can tell you the one I'm about to show you, I did not. Heather said, when you get fabric off the bolt, it has a fold. The salvage doesn't match. If the salvage doesn't match, do you match up or leave it on the fold when I cut? So I really will just cut this way, and then I make the side cut, and I kind of ignore the fold and the salvage. But if you're cutting a long piece, you would put your ruler on the line of the fold so that when you unfold it, it stays straight. Is there a reason all blocks are not pressed open? So that's kind of the same thing as I would say when you're quilting, do whatever you feel like. But I get better results when I press open, but I also stitch with a super short stitch length, like a 1.5. And I can tell you, when you have to pull that stitch length out, it stinks because it's really hard to get your seam ripper in that seam. So you've got to be really really accurate, because I don't like to pull those stitches out. So some people press open, some people don't. I kind of mix and match, depends kind of what I feel like. Eels is asking, what is a tied pin? So you can, oh, haha, it's here magically, look. So I have no affiliation with this company, but you can get these like at the grocery store, like HEB, Target, oh yeah, Target, Walmart, and it's, okay, I'll show you how you do it. I'm gonna grab a piece of fabric. So, and I actually used this on my wedding picture because there was a stain when I moved. There was a stain that they got on the fabric part of my wedding picture, and it got most of it out. So this is a white on white fabric. Oh my gosh, I don't want to mess it up. You do that and let it dry. Don't iron it. And then if the stain doesn't come out, do it again. Let it dry. Doesn't come out, do it again. It will eventually come out. And I have these everywhere. Like, I don't have it in my car, but I mean, if I tell my kids, grab me a tied pin, they know exactly where it is. So Kevin doesn't, but any of my kids, if I say grab a tied pin, they know exactly where it is. So it's something that I don't just use in quilting. I use it on all kinds of things, like their clothes. I think that's what it was meant for. But like if my kids get chocolate or something, I'll say, go get the tied pin. They know how to use it even. So it's not really something that I definitely didn't invent it, but I just started using it and I like it. Are you still wearing Cajun shrimp? Yes. Sometimes I change it. So you guys have been asking about my nail polish. So sometimes I change it, and the reason I'll change it is basically right now in my life, my kids are back in school. They're back at, like, they're playing sports. My boys are playing sports 3 days a week. My daughter is doing dance 4 days a week. It's all over town, and we kind of live in the middle of nowhere. So, and I live really far. I don't have a lot of time. So, and I'm not like picky about my nails, so I'll just go wherever. Like if they're at basketball and I got an hour, I'll drop them off, go get my nails done the closest place. So if they don't have OPI, then I don't get Cajun shrimp. I try to get as close as I can though. Maya said, do you have to prepare the backing if you use the cuddle fabric? So on the cuddle fabric, I just cut a really big, I don't ever sew them together. I try not to, well, I don't want to say ever because I did do that once. I try to just give a big piece to Gina and put the label on top. I did sew a label in, but it was kind of a lot of work. But I would not starch it. Did I use the Flying Geese foundation paper for the Bats and Boos? Yes, and you use it on part 3 next week. Bobby says, good morning. For those that love the clappers, do you recommend the 7 or 12? Okay, I'm going to show you these to you right now. And I'm going to tell you about them. I'm going to show them to you on a couple of blocks too. Okay, so these are products that I'm going to show them on that 12-inch block right there, the house block. So these are products that I know they're not new. They're not, I kind of got in trouble because I said this is a new product. I guess it's used in the sewing world or the garment world or like dry cleaning world. Tailoring. It says tailoring right there. Duh. So, but Riley Blake was the company that came back and had a company. They're made in America. People say they're expensive. They are expensive. They're made in America. Now, your husband can make these. Or if you're a woman that's a woodworker that has like all those tools. I think one lady even said, oh, I went to Home Depot and the Home Depot employee cut it for her. So you could get, I think it's a certain kind of wood. You'll have to Google what kind of wood it is because I don't know, but we just sell the Taylor's clapper, and these just came back in stock. They've been out of stock for like a year. So they're in stock. I don't know how long they'll last, and I don't know like if we placed another order how long it would be. But this is what I use, and that is how I get all of these blocks flat. So what I do, now your fabric has to be hot for this to work. It's not going to work if you don't have like an iron on it. But what I do, for example, is this. Say this is done. When it's hot, your fabric is hot from your iron. I put that there and that there and walk away. If you come back, by the time the heat goes away and is soaked in by the wood, your block will lie flatter. So for example, on this block, which is kind of our next little segment, this is a Quilting Life block 8 for August. So this is another free program put out by Sherry McConnell on her blog. And this one has a lot of touching seams, and she gives 2 different size options, a 6-inch and a 12-inch. So I'm making the 12-inch. But the reason I want to show you this is when I did this block, I wanted these 4 fabrics to be the same. This is using the Flea Market collection, which is the same collection in the book that I showed you earlier by Lori HOLT'S. So I used 4 different tops and then the same door, and then I just used the same fabric, different fabrics. But I tried to do 4 different colors, 4 different scales, and 4 different, just to make it look different. But on this one, there are a lot of seams. So if you zoom in right there and look at this little section, I had to press open for that to look flat. Ooh, and that needs to be clipped right there. That needs to be clipped. That means I had to unpick a seam. And I put that clapper on there. Now, if I didn't have that clapper, it wouldn't be that flat. And I mean, it's completely flat. There's no bump. There's no bump. So if you pressed to different size and not pressed open, you would have a bump. But with this, you don't get the bump. Now, I quilted for 20 years without these. You do not have to have them. This is like a bonus thing that makes my blocks nice and fun, but I quilted 20 years without them. You do not have to have them. And when I did this block, I have finally figured out a way to use my paper and press open. It's complicated, it's tricky, and I'll have to show you in a video one day. It's not for the faint of heart, I'll just say that. It's tricky, but I have figured out how to make my paper work with this. It involves a lot of glue. The next one that I've been sewing on, I'm not caught up, but I'm kind of changing my method a little bit. I am, let's see, yeah, I'm kind of moving around my weeks because when I went to visit Lori, I kind of got behind. So last week I did my greens. This week I did my reds. Next week I'll do my navies. The week after I'll do my pinks. And so this is a sew along using the Sampler Spree book by Susan Aki. And there's 100 blocks, and I'm using the stitch collection that just came out by Lori Holt. And I have not decided my sashing yet. Lori has picked all the fabrics for my blocks, which makes it super easy for me to do. And I'm going to show you each of my blocks, and I'll kind of talk about different things that I did if you're interested. And then I'll talk about one block that I haven't done. So this is cherry baskets. I just did traditional piecing. I did use the seam aligned glue because these little tiny pieces, on these tiny pieces, I used that seam aligned glue so that it wouldn't like shift. This is the Spinster block. And that one I just did traditional piecing, and same thing, I used the glue. This is the economy block. And that one, this is a weird size, so I didn't have paper for that. So I used just traditional method. And all of these are pressed open, and all of these I use the clapper on. But you can see there's a lot of seams in here. But if you press open, just be ready to have tiny stitches, and they're hard to pull out. This one was fun. This was the pear block. And in her book, she had the pear a different color. And I was like, oh, my pear needs to be yellow. So you can see that these are the green blocks that she categorizes as green, but I have felt I can do whatever, you can do whatever you want. Like Lori Holt says, you're the boss of your own quilt. So I've got teal, I've got yellow, I've got pink. I didn't stick with the same colors. And like you can see, I have a lot of red and green blocks. This one is, I don't know, one of the blocks. I think I went out of order. This one is, let's see, the tree block. This one was a ton of fun. So this one, Lori helped me, and we did like one color here, one color here, and a different color here. And what I did here is you put two rectangles together and draw on a diagonal line and press. Well, what I did is I cut my white triangles longer and then lined up my centers, and then when I was done, I just chopped off the sides, so that's how it's perfectly straight. And again, pressed open, use the clappers. But like I said, you can do this, you can press to one side, you don't have to sew like me. And I sewed for 20 years without them. Let's see, this one, I totally changed the block. So it's called the Broken Path, and on this one, she had it written where these were four half square triangles, and I didn't want to do that. So I did 6 flying geese instead. So it looks the same, I just changed the method, and you can feel free to do that too. This one is the boxed star, and I think, yeah, this was my last green one. This one was called Boxed In, and let me tell you, this is my favorite one to make because that was quick and easy, because these blocks are pretty difficult. It really takes about 8 to 10 hours to do all the blocks. It's really intense. On this one, even though it's easy, I did cut these strips bigger, got to that step, trimmed down, added these, trimmed down. So even though it's an easy block, I still do little things to make it easier. So those are my green blocks. And now I'm going to show you my red blocks. Okay, this one I made twice. So I first made it with the other background fabric. Let's see. This one, I had this in the corner, and I just didn't like it, so I just redid it. So there's that one, and I used on a couple of these, I used H200, so I used H200 on here. And then this one is the Greek cross, H200, same thing. And with these, if you cut all your blocks at one time, and then you can stitch on all your triangle paper at one time, cut them all at one time, put them on your design board with your block where you're at. I call in Peyton, he pulls the paper, I iron, and I'm ready to go. This is Prairie Queen, and same thing, H200. And I did do these as strip sets, cut them bigger, trim down, and put them back together. Instead of cutting each individual square, I did them as strip sets. I really like this block. This one was the hardest one. This is the one I did last, actually, because it's a lot of work to do these 8. But I used the Eleanor Burns small flying geese ruler and then had to trim down. And I use this fabric quite a lot, actually. And this one is H150 triangle paper. So you can see, you could do all your triangle paper at one time, just the blocks with the triangle paper. This one I felt like if you added too many colors, you would lose the look. This one I loved making. Oh my gosh, this one was so fun, except that when I strip pieced, I accidentally had one extra pink. So I strip pieced these, strip pieced these, and I love that it has this fun fabric. This one was pretty easy. This uses H200 here. And then I did make these wider and then trim the block down. And then this one is, you can see I didn't use red at all. I used pink and gray. And then I'm going to show you the one that I got stuck on. And I'm going to show you from the book. I'm going to use something to cover up the instructions though. Oh. So I'm covering up the instructions over here. So I don't know what I was doing, but I was using the wrong ruler for this. I think I bought the wrong ruler, so I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I'm going to buy a new ruler, see if I can get it to work. If not, I'm going to take some of my It's So Immer foundation paper, like the Flying Geese paper, and on the wrong side draw a template and try to make it that way. I have no idea. I just got totally lost. I couldn't get the points here and here to match, so I'm gonna have to try again. And last night, Emma, she gets out of dance at 9:15. It's 30 minutes from the house, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna do that when I get home at 9:45, and then I thought, no, I better not. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little break, and I would love for you guys to just pop in any questions you have about any of the stuff I'm sewing along with, the planner, the boxes, anything. I can tell you that the Stitching with the Housewives patterns will not fit in the boxes. I just checked. But ask me questions and I'll be back. I still have a ton of more sewing to show you, and I will be back in a second. staying with me, I'm going to now show you Scrapbook of Quilts. So I have shown you previously the 5 pillows that were part of the sew along. Now I'm going to show you the final one. If you want to see my previous ones, just check out my previous live streams. So this one was the Christmas theme. So I'm going to show you what I made. This is a book by Joanna Figueroa and Carrie Nelson. And so I used Carrie's pillow pattern for this Christmas morning yardage. And that yardage will be on our website on Monday. And I use the same exact instructions for this as the pillow, except I just made it a table runner. And what I did here is I did not have enough fabric to piece this in, because I would have had to have 2 rectangles, 2 big pieces, and this. So I pieced to the outside of my label from Sweetwater, folded it under with the hot hammer ruler, and stitched it down. And Gina Tell quilted it with this rose pantograph. So I made mine a table runner instead of a pillow. And now I'm going to show you the 2 that stitched along with Joanna. First, we have the Wandering Path. So she made hers pretty big. She made 4 houses, and I did the condo blocks. So she did the house blocks. She did 4, and then she put buttons in the window. And then Susan Vaughn, she made the same one I did, and I love this pantograph. So in here, she says she quilted it with the Tawny Oland Chunky Knit Panto. So Gina Tell, please buy that Panto for me, and I will pay for it because I want you to use that. It's awesome. I love that pantograph. So that has now, the sew along has now ended, but of course you can sew along anytime you want with this one and this wonderful book that has lots of quilts, lots of pillows. It's jam-packed with scrappy projects. The next thing I sewed along with was America's Quilter's Sew Along. So this is last week's block, block 9, and we did get a lot of questions on this one. The block. You forgot that block, sorry. It's underneath right there, look. Sorry. Okay, so block 9. Okay, so on this one, Lisa Bonjean is raising money for Hogs for Heroes. She has the fabric requirements on her blog. Her blog is lisabonjean.com. This is a completely free sew along for instructions. Now, when she made her flying geese right here, she used a method where you cut on the diagonal and add. And we got so many questions online about how do you not do that. So what I did is you can just look and see that 1.5 by 2.5 is what it needs to finish. So you need 1 by 2. We don't make that kind of paper. So I use the small Eleanor Burns Flying Geese method and trimmed them down. For this center, I used the 2-inch square and a square paper. And let's see, now this one, you can see I have pressed some seams open and some seams to the side. So I kind of it just really depends kind of what mood I'm in, what I sew, how I sew it. Now, I did use 2600 gray as I was stitching instead of my color 2000 so that it doesn't show up. And that's how you can tell if you like just get a little bit away, you just don't want to be able to see your thread. So this is block 9. This is going to be a total of 20 free blocks. The quilt is going to finish at 67 by 70. This is block 10. Now this one, the same thing. She used that same method. All you have to do is make 1.5 by 2.5 unfinished flying geese. And you can see here, I use the same exact fabric she did, but she has her stripes going this way. So she has these this way, these horizontal, and these up and down. Now I did mine all up and down. So you can see they do look different. Hers actually looks a lot better. So you can decide how you want your stripes to run. And then I showed you, let's see, the Quilting Life. Now I'm going to show you my Bright Side blocks. So Bright Side with Sew Sampler box. So if you are one of our Sew Sampler members where you get the box each month, every year we come out with a different set of like postcard size blocks, and they're, you know, easier blocks. We usually have a designer design them. So the same designer that did the Quilting Life, I just showed you her block because she has a free block of the month on her site. She designed all of these blocks for us. So this is block 4, and we are sold out of the quilt kits now, and we won't be able to make more. This is the block that goes with the pattern. Terry made that for us. Teresa made that for us. And then this is the block I made. So I am using Christmas Morning, and that fabric will be online on Monday. And you can see I even played with different fabrics here, how even if you have a background here, you can change it. And you can see I could have used this fabric here to like do it. So each month I'm going to be showing you the blocks. This is block 4. I'm not going to show you the paper because it does have the instructions. This is the one that you would make if you bought the quilt kit, which is using the Bright Side fabric by Sherry and Chelsea. And this is my Morning Star pattern. Actually, it's featuring the Happy Days collection, sorry. The postcards are called Bright Side. So you can see totally different look. You could even flip these where you've got your gray going a different way. So it's fun when you do a block like this. You could rotate before you sew it together and see, like you could flip this. You could actually make this star right here. You could make these triangles go this direction. So it's a fun way to play with it. And I do want to show you one thing that I did different also. And this is kind of a good thing to talk about, is when you're quilting, you should always feel free to adjust a pattern any way that works best for you. So if you look here, we wrote this pattern where there's a rectangle with a corner square, a rectangle with a corner square, and 2 half square triangles. Well, I wanted to use just triangle paper, so I made 4 half square triangles and added squares. They both look great. When they're quilted, they look the same, but it's just a way to adjust your pattern as you see fit. Now these blocks finish at 9 inches, and on these I pressed to one side. Now obviously I need to fix that. I'll fix that before I piece it into the block. But you can see here, my sample maker, she pressed open and then she pressed to the side. So she kind of did a combo too. So it's a great way to see that as you're sewing, whatever you feel like doing, just do it. It's fun. Okay, I'm going to answer questions before I show a quilt that I have finished. How big is block 10? Block 10. What is block 10? Block 10, okay, sorry. The flags, off the top of my head, I made these a long time ago. We'll have to see. 10 1/4 by 12 1/2. And when you make these blocks, Lisa is asking for you to donate to Hogs for Heroes, and all that information is on her blog. What about the Riley Blake Block Challenge quilt? Is it finished, and will I show it? Yes, next. I'm going to show it. It is finished. I just got it back last night. Catherine said she has trouble cutting fabric to get all the pieces I need for a project. I have to scurry and find the fabric to replace what I need. I love it when a kit shows how to cut the fabric. Suggestions. So on that, what I would do is look at your pattern, read the pattern all the way from cutting to the very final step. Step away from it. Come back, get a pencil and paper, and write out and just think it through before you cut. We are very generous with our kits that we cut at Fat Quarter Shop though. LaDonna is asking on the Christmas Morning panel, how many yards did I use for the Shannon fabric? So I think that panel is 54 inches wide. So I must have bought 74 inches because it's a 90-inch wide. So whatever 74 divided by 36 is, which would be like 2 1/4 yards, is probably what I used. And that's because the Shannon fabric that I picked was 90 inches wide instead of 44 inches wide. Lori says, do I have a pillow tutorial? So in the book and in Lori's books, there are plenty of pillow tutorials. I'm sure we've done one. I don't know the name of the video off the top of my head. And also Aditya Sitar has several pillow instructions in her books. Robin said, or is asking, how do you determine how much extra yardage to buy if wanting to use triangles on a roll and pattern is not written for them? Well, actually, I don't really think you need to order extra because you're actually using the same cut. It's just you're adding paper and you just need a tiny bit extra. So I actually just buy the same amount. Kimberly, how many hours a day do I sew? I usually sew on the weekend. I usually sew about 20 hours a week. I am physically in this building 40 hours a week. I just work a lot, but I tend to not sew at night. I tend to do it from Friday night to Sunday night. But what I do is I get up super early on Saturdays and Sundays and I let my kids sleep in. They usually sleep till like 10:30, and so does Kevin. So I usually use the time they're sleeping or the time they're watching WWE and, you know, distracted. Do I ship bolts to Norway? Yes. When will I come out with a larger square and a square paper, specifically 6.5 by 6.5? I don't know if we were going to make it that big. I'll have to write that down and get back to you next week. Does Lori pre-starch? No. Lori does not. She does not pre-starch and she does not use seam. So, Jackie said, where do you get the ring on your right hand? It's beautiful. Lagos.com, Lagos.com. Diane, should I starch jelly rolls when using yardage in a quilt? Okay, so jelly rolls you can starch because they will shrink across the length, not the width. So if you do, I would also starch your background. Have you noticed if shipping is getting any better? We are not back to normal, no. But I don't know when the end will come. I don't want to predict it because if I do, I might jinx myself. Paula says that block you're stuck on can be made with a tri-rect tool, I think. Okay, I'm going to try that. Is the red star made from Strippy Stars rulers by Creative Grids? The red star. So I didn't use that ruler. So any of the stuff I made, I used just using traditional methods and triangles on a roll. Amy is asking if Creative Grids will make more left-handed rulers. So I'm sure they will if sales are good. So I think it probably will depend on sales. I don't know. I could ask him, but I would not want to ask him yet because I wouldn't want to ask the owner yet because it's too early probably in sales. Lisa says, Kimberly, when is the pre-ordered flea market quilt supposed to ship? Not until October. Because like I said, we placed our order for that after the original order was placed. So it's not here yet. When you make larger and trim down, how much larger? Usually a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. Is there a dimensional difference between 2 half square triangles and a flying geese block? So no, you have to add the seam in between when you add them. Do I ever use the Creative Grid Stripology ruler? No, I don't. But I love to cut. So that is for people who want to like go fast, and I love to cut. So I haven't used it, but I see a lot of really good reviews. I will tell you, Gudrun has a great YouTube channel. She has a great Facebook group that you can join where a lot of people give tips on that. Is the wall behind me paper or shiplap? It's wallpaper. That's the kind you just stick on and peel off. It's cheap and you can get it at Home Depot. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the Riley Blake Designs challenge quilt. This is a completely free pattern on Riley Blake Fabrics blog. So on this one, I used the, let's see, I used the Prim Fabric Collection by Lori Holt, and I used 2 fabrics here, and then I used 3 different fabrics in the block, plus the background. So I used 6 fabrics, and it's completely free. All of the blocks finish at 10 inches. So that's the top, and this is the bottom, and I'm going to show you the back. Now, the back, I used 108-inch wide fabric. I did not starch it, and I will show you up close how I did the label. And Gina quilted this and bound it for me. And if you want her to quilt yours, her website is threadgraffiti.com. So this is 108-inch wide fabric, and for some reason, I just wanted to make a big, I felt like with this big floral, I didn't want to cut it up because it's 108-inch wide and it's such a beautiful print. I felt like if I cut it up and put it back together, it would look ugly. But I also felt like it, because I made this first, this little thing right here, and I put it on the back and it gets lost. So I thought, well, I need to make a really big label so that it will stand out and not get lost. So I just added borders, used the hot hammer, and then I stitched it down. You can see I missed a stitch right there. And then Gina quilted it. So I'm going to show you the quilting up close. So she did feathers, which I always like feathers. So I don't think I've done this feather one before, and I love it. And I love the thread she used. So you can see on this quilt, it's a bigger quilt, so it has a bigger pantograph versus, I'm going to show you real quick, the one she did that is the Christmas one. Okay, so here you can see this is a bigger quilt and a bigger pantograph. This is a pantograph right here, this quilting. Now she also had to do bigger because if you look right here up close, this is my Sashiko machine that did these little specialty stitches, and she didn't want those to get ripped out. But, okay, we're going to leave that right there, but this one is a smaller quilt, so look at the difference in the pantographs. Tiny, tiny, and small. So just, you know, something to think about when you're getting something quilted. You know, the thread color makes a difference, the size of the pantograph, the fullness of the pantograph. So now I'm going to show you our video of the week. So we took, we're taking older videos to repurpose them, and we used this one last year as part of Stitch Pink. And so we released it in July of 2020. It's a completely free pattern. It uses the grunge jelly roll, the tiny jelly rolls. And so if you look at this pattern, it features these jelly rolls. And so we featured it as part of Stitch Pink last year. So completely free pattern if you're looking for something to make with jelly roll this weekend. And then I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to hold it up, I'm going to just show you on the table our blast from the past, and then I'm going to tease something. So this is our blast from the past, where we take something previously made to show you. This is called Fat Quarter Snowballs. It is from our Shortcut series, completely free pattern. So, and it uses fat quarters. So if you're looking for something to make with fat quarters, this is a video that you can check out. And I'm going to tease. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to go through my entire house, and I'm going to pull almost every quilt out of my house, bring it to work. We're going to go through week by week and look at old quilts I made. Now, I want to tell you up front, a lot of these are going to have no patterns. They're going to be 10, 20 years old. There's going to be no pattern to it. So I'm going to be showing you old stuff, but there might not be a pattern to go with it. But this is going to be fun to see something from 20 years ago. I've got a lot of old Kansas Troubles quilts. And now I'm going to show you some new stuff that came in. This was the white on white, this is the white on white that I love. So I'm actually taking this bolt home today. This is SKU 20708-36. And I had this fabric reprinted. I had to buy a ton of it. And we've already sold 75% of it. So I'm probably going to have to reorder this again. But this was from Stacy Itsu, and I just love the white on white. So we got this in, but it has already kind of sold. And then, let's see. So today is actually International Left-Handers Day. So we're doing something really fun today, and it kind of goes along with the two Creative Grids rulers. And I'm going to show you on the table the prizes that you could win. But we're doing a giveaway on social media from today through Sunday. And just go to Facebook and Instagram and you can see how to win, how to enter to win. And then we're going to go to the table. And so the prize, it's a great prize. So it's this cutting mat by Creative Grids, which is super expensive. The two left-handed rulers that Creative Grids has come out with, which is the 6-inch square and the 6x24. And we're giving away my favorite rotary cutter. So go over to Facebook and Instagram for our Fat Quarter Shop accounts and figure out how to enter to win. And the way that you're going to enter is you're going to enter a comment and give a tip on what would help other left-handed quilters. And as a bonus to that, we released a little short video on Facebook and Instagram yesterday to show you how, if you want to use a rotary cutter but you're left-handed, it shows you how to change your rotary blade to get to the other side. And so now I'm going to answer any questions you have before we wrap it up. Mary says, Kimberly, you never age. What is your secret? Oh my gosh, I do age. I feel so old, and but thank you. I put on a lot of makeup. That would be my tip. Wilma, what was the SKU number of my background? 20708-36. If you want to order a 108-inch wide backing to keep on hand, how many yards should I order? So a lot of people buy that in 3-yard increments or 5-yard. What is a hot hemmer? So a hot hemmer we have demoed in a couple of videos. It's a product by Clover, and it is basically, it's a little tiny ruler. And I'll show you on here. So it's a product made by Clover. It was developed by, I'm trying to think of her name. She makes bags, Joan Hawley of Lazy Girl. And what it is, it's a thick material, and you can iron on it, but you can use the ruler. And so I fold over my labels so that I can use the lines, and you can iron on it so that you can get a really nice clean edge for those labels. I really want to start quilting. Any recommendations? Yes, I would totally recommend starting with the Fat Quarter Shop Beginner Series. And there's free videos, free pattern, and free tips. So that's where I would start. So Katie is asking if it's possible to email customer service. So just email service@fatquartershop.com. And then I want to give a big thank you to all of our YouTube members that joined today. Cindy Hutchins, Seam Stitchy Floss Tube, and Keelam Clifford. And there is a coupon in there for our members, so you'll want to check that out. And I want you guys to have a great weekend. Comment below and let me know if you have any questions on any of the blocks I made, or anything that you want to know so I can answer. And have a great weekend, and I will see you here next Friday.